Hello, everyone. We have bass-baritone Laurence Albert with us today. Welcome, Laurence.
Hello, thank you.
Originally from Memphis, Laurence has a career which has spanned opera, oratorio, really every genre, concert performances, recitals. He's performed extensively all over this country and Europe, and and it's really amazing to me how many recordings, Laurence, you've been involved in. So really, I think the first thing I want to get into is opera because it's probably your main passion as well. You sung over 50 operatic roles in your career. Where did you first hear opera? Was it Memphis?
It was in Memphis. Actually, opera was sort of something that my mom really loved. So we listened a lot. In my day, sort of dating myself, we listened to Ted Mack, Ed Sullivan, the Firestone Hour, all of these incredible TV shows, mainstream television. And we would hear incredible singers. And so my mom was just a lover of all types of arts. And so opera we listened to quite a bit.
Well, the range of operas that you've performed, I mean, I've seen a listing of many of the roles that you've played, that you've sung, and the range of them is just really quite extraordinary. I mean, it ranges from Schoenberg and Michael Tippett, even some 20th century composers that most people have not even heard of, Henze, to really the standard repertoire, Verdi and Mozart and Beethoven. Do you have a preference for the early music or the modern music over the other, one over the other?
Um, wow, that's a big question. I really don't have a preference, but if I'm honest, I'm a big oversized romantic. I mean, I love anything romantic. But when you're a poor singer, you want to work. And whatever is going to bring you an opportunity to sing, you're going to be very quick to take it. But all of the schools, all of the types of music bring such a very, what would you call it, a very special type of expression that's possible. So Schoenberg, although when you're a bass, you also have very small supporting roles, but you can have mid-sized roles and large roles. And so you get to watch when I did Schoenberg, I was like the Dornbuschstimme, and that was one of 5 or 6 singers that were fest in the house where I was engaged in Frankfurt, and we basically got to watch the big guys do the main roles, and you learn so much by doing that. But then you sing all of these from the smallest to the walk-on roles to the mid-size, and then finally, when you're a little bit older, people start hearing a sound, and they will give you bigger roles to go on stage with.
Well, singing contemporary opera, it has very different challenges, of course, from the standard repertoire, and the sheer difficulty of them has it. I will tell you, as a conductor, when I first started doing the modern repertoire, the contemporary repertoire, and that meant at the time music of the 70s and 80s. It presented a tremendous challenge to me because I had been brought up in the standard repertoire. Did you find it that way?
It was very difficult, but I had great teachers like we all did, and they would insist on us learning how to learn music. And so that really stood me in good stead when I was given opportunities to sing modern music. I remember my first official voice teacher was Dr. Wendell Whalum at Morehouse. And he insisted that we learn all types of music. And we had some very difficult contemporary music to learn. And then on top of it, he would get us opportunities to sing with the orchestra in Atlanta. And Robert Shaw would be conducting, and we were so nervous, we would be working and working. And there's such a camaraderie amongst, we still communicate constantly with the Glee Club brothers. And actually, I see one on board, Mr. Cook, and we learned how to learn music, and it made it fun. And then you start to have an appreciation for contemporary classical music as well.
Well, I do want to get back in a while to your experiences at Morehouse, but I want to stick with opera for just a little while. The other extreme, of course, is that great body of romantic opera, and I would say that you and I share one of our great favorites is Verdi. But one of the extraordinary things for you is that Verdi, I would say, as an outsider, I'm not a vocalist, but my guess is that Verdi is probably, if not the greatest, one of the greatest composers for the bass-baritone. He just knew how to write for that, and he wrote so many wonderful arias. Where did you first hear Verdi? Was it in Memphis? Where did you first run across Verdi and the body of his operas?
Oh wow! I think the first time that I'm going to be touting my teachers, because the first time I found out about Verdi, I was singing in choir in high school, and our choir director, her name was Lula Hedgeman, and she was an amazing musician, and she instilled in us there again a really strong desire to learn how to sing well, how to do different styles of music, and she got us an opportunity in 1969 to do to be a part of the production of Aida, and it was
In Memphis.
In Memphis,
In Memphis.
And I think Vincent DeFrank was the conductor there.
You know, and I may have seen that performance.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
He was like a monument in Memphis.
Yes, he was.
And he gave us in 1969, which was, we have to understand, in the scheme of things in the United States in 1969, to give this black high school an opportunity to come on your main stage. I think Mignon Dunn was the Amneris, and we were the slave chorus, and but it was hair raising, because we just kind of fell in love. We listened to these people with these incredible sounds, and we just kind of fell in love with it. And I've been in love with Verdi ever since.
Your life changed. Your life changed.
Absolutely.
Right there on the stage of Ellis Auditorium with the elephants. Just one more question about Verdi, because I know.
Anytime
Well,
Verdi.
Well, just tell me about singing Verdi. Tell me what it's like to sing the body of, because you know the repertoire now. You've sung the repertoire. Talk to us a little bit about singing Verdi.
Well, he definitely is late romantic composer, and you have to learn to sing with a very large orchestra, which will have several different types of sound and color. So normally voice teachers will give Verdi sparingly, and when you're young, they'll kind of get you introduced to it, but they won't let you really go out and sing it in public, because of the size of the orchestra. They know they don't want, even if you show promise, they don't want you to get opportunities too fast. So they kind of give it to you very slowly with the spoon. But Verdi, I think, is very healthy for the voice. It helps you develop, because he understood the human voice so well. And it's like medicine for your voice. But you have to study real bel canto. You really have to understand your breath and how to support, the importance of diction, the importance of how you understand your text, so that you can really bring it off, because it's huge. It's very, for me, there's very little difference in the size of sound. Now, I might be wrong, I should ask you this, but Verdi and Wagner bring similar size orchestras, even though I was reading the other day, a singer was saying that it's easier to sing Wagner because there were times when the singers were singing, he scales the orchestra down. but I've only been hearing large sounds coming from Verdi.
I don't know that I would agree with that.
Okay.
I don't think I would agree with that, no.
Okay.
My sense, I don't know the repertoire as well as some, but my sense is that Verdi wrote first and foremost for the voice, and it was all about the voice. And really, most of the time, the orchestra was out of the way. And I think that's why my impression is that he wrote so well for the bass voice, because he just cared. He knew how to write for it. What you were saying, he cared. He wrote in a way that it could be sung. And it is like, yeah, medicine is a great word. That's such a great word.
But it's so amazing because you learn how to pace, and you learn how to what acts you can give and what acts you should really be sparing, and you have to learn it. I think in a theater system that allows you time, because the star system, where you come in and you do maybe 3 performances, and you only are going to get the big names to come in and sing the top roles. It doesn't help the young singer, because really the only way to learn to sing people like Verdi and Wagner and the very big, large scores like that is to do it in a theater where you're protected, where it might not be as large as 1,000 seats. You get to learn how to do it on a larger scale. Rehearsal periods are about 5 to 6 weeks, like in the German Fest system. So the rehearsal period is longer. The singer has a lot more time to grow in the role. You do it 20-something times in a run. And it's also supported by the government, which it's very dear to my heart, and I constantly pray that we do the same. But it's just the pacing and the way you can grow into it, and the expectations are such that the young singer can grow into Verdi.
Well, Brooke has our first musical performance for us that she can share with us, and it's not opera, but it almost is, because it's from Verdi's Requiem. This first performance we're going to hear is from Verdi's Requiem. It's a performance that Laurence actually recorded as part of a CD recording. Laurence, I believe this was recorded in 2002 and in Paris, this Confutatis?
Yes, it was.
So this is the Confutatis Maledictis from Verdi's Requiem. Laurence Albert.
Confutatis maledictis, flammis acribos ad dictis, suplex et acclinis. condritum quasi cinis. Cere coram mei finis, ora supplex et acrilis, cor condritum quasi cinis.
I always forget, Laurence, after that glorious Confutatis, and then you go right into the Dies Irae. It's such an amazing, it's such an amazing moment, isn't it? Well, I believe as Brooke puts that musical selection away, I do know when she has a moment here, she's gonna. We have some pictures through the years of you on stage, and Brooke, you're gonna show those whenever you get to do it. And Laurence, you and I'll just continue on with our conversation. You've performed. We've already touched on it. You've performed a great deal in Europe, and it maybe it seems like to me when I look at your roles, maybe in particular in France. How did all that begin?
When my voice teacher was giving a class one summer in Italy, and when the class was over, his name is Edward Zambara, and he was very wise, and this was like 1983, I guess, and he knew that he just knew my personality, and he knew that my type of personality might do better in Europe. And he told me at the end of the course, he said, I think you should stay and try your hand at this scenario, because he knew I was going to come back in the fall to do auditions for a German position. But he said, you should stay and see what it's like for you here. And so I did. I called my mom and I said, guess what? I'm going to stay over here. And of course, she probably thought I was crazy, but she was so supportive as she always was. And and so I stayed and did auditions and started to get engagements. And that was the way I was able to maintain myself staying there until my opera season started, I think a year and a half later in Germany.
So how, at that point, you were in Europe for a very long run then.
Well, I stayed in '83 and I stayed the whole time. And then I started in Germany in 1985. So I was there like a year and a half.
Well,
I was there.
did you ever give some thought to just moving there?
Well, that's where I lived. I moved there.
I've often thought of, and my friends have, Michael's heard me say this, Michael Beatty's heard me say this as well. I've often thought about just cashing out. I love Europe so much, just cashing out and moving to Europe and just getting whatever work I could, just so I could live in Switzerland or Paris or Frankfurt or Hamburg, wherever. So I fully understand. Well, and that leads.
It's great beer and wine too.
But it's just, we've already touched on it. There's an environment there, of course, that supports the arts. And you might address this. I mean, in many ways, every little town in Italy has its own opera house to this day.
Well, I think the appreciation for the arts is very strong, and it's not based on class. It's just a love for the arts of all types, and being having that opportunity to be there, you just start to drink it in. It's like constant, and you get, even in a restaurant, everything is geared towards art, and it's not frowned on for a 6'4" man to love all types of art. And you can find artists on the street earning money, singing or dancing or acting. So that's something that I really appreciated and learned from, and just enjoyed the opportunity to suddenly decide to go to the museum and see Miro or any of the great painters, just to go and do it. And it's not like a big thing that you do. It's just sort of like going to have a coffee at the corner.
It's there. It's there. Well, I do want to get to the next musical selection we have, but this is a good moment to talk about language. We've already heard, I think, some French and German come out of your mouth. I mean, you obviously have, as many vocalists do, an absolute mastery of German, French, Italian, certainly Spanish. We've got some Spanish that we might play if we have some time. Talk to us a little bit about studying all these languages and mastering them, and of course then living in Europe and absorbing them.
Well, I think I see a lot of friends on board today who are incredible vocalists themselves. So it's pushed into us that you have to learn languages so that when you sing something, you can really communicate your text. And so it's sort of like fun for vocals, people who study voice and opera and song, to really learn as much as they can about language. And so when I went over and started living in Europe, you hear it all the time. And I had to learn because I had to buy food. I had to learn how to navigate in the street, or when I was being blessed out by someone by getting onto the subway too slowly, I'd have to be able to defend myself. So it's just love. And then I found out that I really love language. And it's the best way to communicate with the audience.
Well, we haven't even touched really on the non-operatic repertoire, and of course the Verdi Requiem would be one of them. But you know, the Brahms Requiem, and then all the great oratorios like Handel's Messiah. And the next selection actually is a performance from Handel's Messiah. This is a recording made in the Czech Republic. Can you set this up a little bit?
Which record? I'm sorry. Which is
This is the uh, Why Do the Nations
oh,
from the Messiah.
this was done. I had the opportunity to go to the Czech Republic to do this recording through and my English agent, wonderful woman, Catherine Griffith, who gave me opened many doors and gave me many opportunities. And this was one, I think it was in 1992. And this piece was recorded in I think one of the military hospitals or something where we were there. But it was the orchestra was amazing, an orchestra from Prague, and a very incredible Czech chamber orchestra, and they did it at Baroque pitch. So it was just a lot of energies coming from all around, and the conductor Mark Brown was very gifted with this repertoire.
This Baroque repertoire. Well, here then is Laurence singing music from Handel's Messiah. I know I'm speaking for everyone. It's just thrilling to hear you sing. One of the things I've looked forward to most, Laurence, as we had this get into this interview was some of the things we're about to talk about. Where you and I are both Southerners, and where did music first come into your life? Where are you from, and where did your first, never mind opera, but where did music first come into your life? Was it your parents?
It's definitely my family.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in South Memphis. So, I mean, I even have the hand signals. I mean, I'm from South Memphis, and it was just everywhere in my neighborhood. all of the churches, amazing musicians came out of those churches. The schools were always at war. Whose band was better? Whose choir was better? Just the level of talent that you were constantly around. And I think the first people to start me to love music were my uncles. My Uncle Thomas, my Uncle Frank, my Uncle D, and they all liked different kinds of music. Uncle D liked classical music, so when he found out that I liked classical music, we were like cohorts, and he would give me all kinds of support and everything. Uncle Thomas was a jazz fanatic, and he knew everything about jazz, and Uncle Frank liked a large range of music. He had Billy Eckstine and oh my God, Ella Fitzgerald, Peggy Lee. He liked everybody. So we would constantly, all of us that grew up together, we were constantly bombarded by music. And my grandmother was not a churchgoer, but when she cooked in the kitchen every day, she sang constantly spirituals, Negro spirituals, constantly. And she was quite a contralto. And so growing up, that was like a way to express some emotion. My mother, when we cleaned up on Saturday, she had to have Nancy Wilson on the record player. So, and it was like all different kinds of music. So you just fall in love with it.
Well, when you and I first worked together, of course, was when we did this extraordinary performance of Tremonisha several years ago here, and I first really got to know you. And you mentioned in passing that you were at Moorhead College, and that you actually sang in Atlanta at one of the very first performances, I think, of Tremonisha that was put on there in Atlanta. But all that leads me to say, talk to us about Morehouse College. How did you find yourself to Morehouse College? A college that's not too different, really, in many ways, historically, and in terms of mission, is what Tougaloo is. So talk to us a little bit. How did you find your way there?
Well, it was recommended that I go, and there was a wonderful person in one of the offices at my high school who introduced me to Dr. Whalum. She called him on the phone and got me a chance to talk with him and to meet him. And I see, like I said, one of my Glee Club brothers here online with us today, and we sang in the Glee Club at the same time. We were a part of the quartet. We have a quartet that would sing a segment of the program, and each year had to be better than the last. So it was a lot of competition going on. And so Benson, I see you, Benson. Benson is there, and so we sang. We just it was quite a historic college because of course, Martin Luther King Jr. and Benjamin Mays and those people. They had such an amazing legacy, and so I have to admit, I was very lucky to be there because the majority of the people were very heavy hitters, and I was just nice, sweet Larry from Memphis. But there are some quite incredible minds that were sitting next to you. And I remember they would say to you in your first meeting, they would say, look at the gentleman on your left and look at the gentleman on your right. Well, I'm sure you all heard this in your colleges, but they would say you graduated in the top 10th of your graduating class. So they would quickly put all of the egos back in place, right? So it was quite an experience, and I just learned so much being there. Being there with Dr. Whalum, he took us all over the country on tours, literally all over the country. And then we started, he took us to Africa. We toured Africa, and for us at 18, going to Africa and being able to see the places that we were beginning to learn historically, Cape Coast Castle and all of the Ashanti, the people of Ghana. We learned so much, and it was just very intense, constant learning.
And I think
Oh, and I didn't even answer your question.
no, you did. You did. I want to real quick put this into perspective because we're talking 68, 69. Put us in a time frame because it's so essential to what this is for you as a young man.
Okay, this was in 1971.
71.
71 was my freshman year. We went to Africa that spring, so 72. And I think it was that same year that we did Tremonisha. And this was, I mean, I was, when you look back on it, you realize you were so green. I mean, we were sitting there, and on the stage were people singing the main roles like Simon Estes and, oh my gosh, I'm having a senior moment.
I believe so many of them were part of the Houston
Funny
performance.
how I remember the Bass-Baritone more than anybody else. Alpha Floyd, who was an amazing soprano, and Betty Allen, Seth McCoy. These were people that we just idolized, and we were going, but they're standing right there and they're pouring out this incredible sound. It's possible to maybe go into classical music after all. And so they especially when, we heard them in live performances and finding out that this was the first performance of Tremonisha, watching people like T.J. Anderson writing the score. And actually, he wrote that very difficult piece that we did in choir that I told you about called This House. And it was scored for men's chorus and I think 5 different pitch pipes. And the rest was rhythm and difficult meter and Sprechstimme and all kinds of things. So they just constantly gave us food, musical food to eat.
But not only such a formative time in your life, informative time in music, but to be in Atlanta in 1971, 72, in that time, what an extraordinary time that was for you and for the world. I hate leaving all of that, but time is pressing, and I just want to touch on a very key thing to all of us who know you, and that is all of us who know you realize just how passionate you are about music. What is singing for you? What is music for you?
Well, that's a big one. As you can probably tell, off stage, I am Larry. And I found in music a way to express things on stage that I never could do off stage. It's a language and a method of communication that people like me, I think you find a new expanse and you root yourself in a way. Your life has another type of dimension. And so singing for me was a necessity. It's about the only way that I can effectively communicate, I hope. And so it's just amazing that music brings together so many people. We were talking about 71, and I remember we were going through all these different changes in the society here in the United States between 68 and that whole period. So it was a way to bridge gaps, we were sitting there with people in Atlanta in an integrated situation, which was healthy psychologically for us because it's a necessity. Us in our society, the only way I think we can heal the wounds that are coming from the past is by our interaction and really learning from each other and exchanging ideas and exchanging emotion and likes and dislikes and talking about our fears and our joys together. And so music made those things possible.
And we're living in an extraordinary moment in this country right now. I don't know if you can continue that thought just one more step further about how music can play a role in bringing people together. Is there something more to say about that?
Oh, yeah. If we don't, as musicians, help the process, I don't think, well, as you can probably see, I'm Buddhist, and I practice a Buddhism that comes from 13th century Japan called Nichiren Buddhism. In fact, Nichiren died today in the 13th century. And we have a mission to use whatever our reality is today to help society move ahead. We have to use music to help society get rid of its tendency to use violence and things that are totally ungodly to maintain power or position, or to worship the things in life that have to do with money and richness. So we as artists can use whatever medium that comes, that is ours, to touch base with people, to communicate, to have moments where we talk and where we can communicate and interact and share as human beings. And it's urgent. I think if we don't do that, we aren't living up to our mission. So that's why I chant this mantra that I chant, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which means that I dedicate my life to the mystic law of cause and effect through sound. Kyo is sound. Sound is how I need to help the society move ahead and to learn how to coexist. So I think that's my opinion.
Let's pick up on this in a few minutes. We do have another musical example that I do want to get in. This is music by Verdi. This is Il Lacerato Spirito from Simone Boccanegra, and Laurence Albert singing.
Estremo addio, Palagio altero, freddo sepolcro dell'angelo mio, ne a proteggerlo valsi. Soffristi, questo genitore era serbato a strazio d'infamia e di dolore. Il serto a lei de martiri, pietoso il cielo die. Resa al fulgor degli angeli, prega Maria per me. Resa al fulgor degli angeli, prega Maria per me. Prega per me. Prega per me. Prega Maria per me.
Laurence, you teach, and there is this sense, especially as to when people get to be our age, older, and really have something, frankly, have something to pass on. It becomes more and more important to do so. And not only that, but you are on the faculty at Tougaloo, which is a very special place, a very, very special place. Can you talk just briefly about what it is for you to teach, and what is it that you feel the most about it in your heart?
That's wow. It's to teach here is a big opportunity because it's a very historic place, like I was saying earlier. We have a faculty and a staff and a student body that's really just an amazing group of people. And the students we have come with such amazing talent. I have students, I say things, all my friends will probably laugh because my idea of a good time is playing around on Facebook. And I am constantly talking about my students because I have some students, I hear their potential. And here I am, the person with gray hair trying to get them to see, you know, you really should go into opera because you have everything you need.
You have the voice.
And trying to get the modern, what do they say, the millennial, trying to get them to understand that you really have that particular talent, and you really should develop it. And the young people that are here are, I literally have world-class talent students, and I'm ready. I'm trying to coax them along because we're competing with a lot of much stronger, monetarily promising uh, professions that might have a lot more glimmer and glamour. But when you hear some of these young people and you hear them sing even an early Italian song, you're going, oh my gosh. And I tease them all the time. I say, it's something in the water here. It's knowing about Leontine Price, it's an amazing phenomenon.
But I'm going to roll you into that. You're a jewel in that here they have standing before them a gentleman who has, in the previous two generations, done this against all odds. You have done it yourself. You are a model of what it can be. I mean, I hesitate saying this, but I'm from a pig farm in Arkansas. I grew up on a cotton farm in Arkansas, and now I'm a symphony orchestra conductor. And here you are, a man who grew up in South Memphis, yes, with a family who gave you a tremendous background, but you are a man with great passion for music and love of music and a tremendous instrument. But seemingly against all odds, you grew up like I did in the South, and you have had a great career. And you now are standing before these young people saying, you can do this. And the world they live in is a far more diverse world, and a world that has so much more opportunity than even you had. So it must be a tremendous inspiration that they have by you just being there with them.
Well, I hope so. I have to admit, I mean, they have so much that is opening up to them. And so we in classical music, we're trying to get them to take that road. And they have equal talents in other areas. And if you talk with them, you might not notice, but when you see them in the process of going through classes and doing those things, and you see the potential, it gives you a sort of I see a karmic relationship, because my family comes from Mississippi, both sides of my family. Not my great grandfather was born right here in Jackson, all across the state, all over to Alabama. So I see a karmic connection. And there are some things that are with my students that I don't even find words for, because it's bigger than all of us. But when you think that on this campus of Fannie Lou Hamer was right here, all these incredible people, Medgar Evers, all of these people walked across this campus. The history on this campus is amazing. And I think all of the kids, they get that. And if they probably decked me if they heard me call them kids. But the young people here, they know the historical ramifications of an education here. But we're in 2020, and we're trying to win them towards classical music. And because I want the future of classical music to be strong. I think all forms of music need to be listened to and loved and performed. So they definitely deserve that chance.
Well, I'm going to take just a moment and say that we're supposed to stop at 6:30, but Michael and Brooke, I'm going to just make the administrative decision, because I have the floor, to make this at 6:30 kind of a soft close. I want to go to questions and answers at that point, but I want to take maybe the last couple minutes that we have before that, and we are going to get to questions that many of you have posed, by asking one more kind of closing question, and that is, we live in a world that I've already mentioned is so much more racially diverse in every way, and globally, not just in this country. And the next century is going to see sweeping changes, no matter what anybody does politically. It's just happening, both in our country and in the world. And you've touched on it, but do you have anything that you've not mentioned yet about what your hopes are about what will change in our field as the world culture is going to change in these children's lives, your students' lives?
I think one thing is that we in the classical field, we have to insist that our art form is valid in 2020 and beyond. Uh, I think some of the downsides of a system that is built on earning power is that, and I'm saying that as a euphemism because I don't want to get into any political discussions that might not be what would be good for your format, but uh, um, when it's based on solely on how much it can bring in, and there is no appreciation for art in all its forms, then I think it's not good for the society. So I want us to insist that yes, I can listen. The students can laugh because I know some of the rap. I know I can talk with them about jazz. I can talk with them about rhythm and blues. But I also want them to know about classical music, and they automatically start to love it. And even though it might not be cool now, I know that the more and the more they listen. So it's getting it to be a common part of the daily life. And so I want our government to support the arts in a strong way, not just a little bit here and a little bit there, and we have to write 200-page dossiers in order to get that money. I want a standard fundamental support of the arts. When I think about the opportunity to sing in Germany and France in opera, and know that everybody has certain protections by that system, from the dancers to the people that are working the KISS, the box office, people who are passing out programs, people who are taking coats, people who are sewing wigs and making costumes, people who are working in the eaves of the theater to raise and lower properties. Everybody has a certain standard of living, and so artists are protected. Artists you don't have to be a star to work and earn your living in the arts. And I think that that's something that I'm definitely going to, as long as I'm capable, is to push for and to try to influence my society because the arts and culture are very important to stability in a society, I think. And so that's one big thing that I think is needed. Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many areas, but
Well, let's close right there because I know that folks are staying over. And first of all, I want to just close up my end of things before I pass it on to Brooke by saying, Laurence, this is a dream come true for me to get to spend some time with you. And we have some questions that folks have asked, and we thank everyone for sticking around. And if you need to slip away, we will be posting this full happy hour on streaming here in just a few days. So don't feel like you will miss anything. We will give you the full questions and answers at that time. And we're going to continue now. I'm going to pass Laurence. I'm going to pass you over to Brooke Wyatt for the questions that she's been curating.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. This has been an absolute joy, as Kraft said, and you've touched on so many things. Why the arts are so essential, and you truly are building a better world by all that you do. So thank you for spending your evening here with MSO. I'm going to jump into just a couple of questions here. This one is piggybacking off of some of your discussion about educating the next generation. And this participant says, it seems like 100 years ago, but Mississippi Public Radio had a Live from the Met, the Saturday afternoon Texaco Opera series that you could pick up in your car radio in the middle of a cotton field. Is there any initiative or any source to offer something similar that could reach the greater public and broaden and spark their creative interest in opera, especially the younger audiences? How can we get those younger audiences involved?
I think having it accessible. When we were talking earlier, we had on national television all types of music. You could sing, you could have Diana Ross and the Supremes, and then you would have Shirley Verrett or Birgitta Fassbender or any great artist come and sing afterwards. And by making all of it accessible on a regular basis, I think whoever that is, tell them that they have a friend and an ally, because it's. I think one of the things, and I think we're finally fixing. We're beginning to heal some of the things that have kept us in a vulnerable position as a society, i.e., class and caste and racism. Mm-hmm. And so as we heal those horrible sores, and we start to have camaraderie and actual living together, we can communicate better, we can share, we can promote different ideas and get young people to see that, oh, it's not uncool to like Shostakovich or to like Fauré or to like Bellini or to like Nathaniel Dett, or all of it is wonderful. And it makes us I like Tina Turner even better once I've heard some of the other types of music. So it's so necessary, and it makes it so much more fun.
Absolutely. That's great. I think, Kraft, we should take that little sound bite and we could just use it over and over and over again. This next question is actually posed to both you and to Kraft. So I'm going to ask it, and we'll let you take a stab at it first, and we'll see if Kraft has anything to add here. It says, as the music industry has been forced into hibernation, and the most positive corner of your imagination, please describe what benefit we could gain from this hiatus. What reinvention would you like to see?
And I'll start, Laurence, with a very short 15-second response, but I've never myself been any more creative than I've been in the last 4 months. And everything that we're doing is new art forms and new kind of programming. And I must say that some of the music that I've composed over the last 4 months has been very different from anything I've done before. And I'm seeing creativity in every corner of the arts. I'm wondering what you may be feeling with your students, or especially coming from a teaching in a new art form as you are doing.
You said it made us become more creative, and that's for sure, because doing everything virtually makes you much more creative. But I think it actually makes us realize just how precious it is, because it's taken away from us. Being in a concert hall with other people and enjoying something is it really, as my grandmother would say, a blessing. It's the immediacy of having music live is to be appreciated. Maybe we had gotten too comfortable, and maybe we needed to have some kind of wake-up call, because and also it makes we practice better, because we have time, and we actually know that if you don't practice, I'm saying this for my students who are listening, hopefully they're listening, it makes us practice more, because you have time. You're not running around and trying to do 16,000 things in a day when 800 would be just as fine.
Well, how precious is it? I'm just going to jump in and say, in response to that, thank you. I hope I never take for granted sitting next to someone in church, or being able to go to a symphony orchestra concert and sitting next to people, or going to a football game. I mean, these are just things that we're all starving for. To have people at my dining room table for a dinner party, I cannot wait for that day. So, Brooke, back to you. Wonderful question.
That was a wonderful question. I've certainly spent a lot of time thinking about what a better normal could look like in my own life. And I appreciate what both of you have brought to this discussion tonight. I'm just about ready to open up the floor for anybody that has a one last parting thought or question for Laurence, or just even to say hello and good evening. But before I do, I want to just tell you all that if you are interested in learning more about the orchestra's programs, such as this happy hour, our social distanced concerts that we are presenting this season, or anything else, then please visit us at msorchestra.com. And we are delighted that you are here this evening. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor. So if you would like to unmute, please do so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Laurence, it's so good to see you.
It was great.
I'm not going to say how long it's been. Good evening, everyone. But
Hello, Janet.
it's a thrill to hear your voice, your singing voice.
I wish I could hear your voice right now. Good to see you.
Brooks, may I say something?
Last time I think we heard from each other or saw each other was either 1975 or a little after that at one of the reunions.
Oh, Benson, hello.
But to have heard your voice from when we were teenagers, 17 and 18, hearing it now, it just, I'm speechless. You are absolutely amazing. And what's really clear to me is you have now magnified the essence of what your heart was like when I first met you. So you are now basically manifesting the essence of what your purpose is. And I am just truly amazed. I'm in awe. I'm loving all of it. I've been kind of listening to bits and pieces over time, but to be able to see you and to hear this, I'm just in awe, and I'm so glad you are my Morehouse brother.
Wow.
We got to reconnect, my brother, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Benson. Wow.
Thank you, Benson. And I see that Robert Page had his hand raised. So let's go to Robert next, please.
Hello, Laurence. How are you?
Hello, Robert. How are you?
It's been a long time. It's a pleasure singing bass with you at the Morehouse Glee Club.
Yay!
And I am so glad that you're keeping the good work up. Very proud of you.
This is wonderful.
Carl, you were about to say something. Carl Twiner is with us. He was something. Jump in, would you?
Yes, of course, I wanted to say to my colleague how fortunate I am to be in your presence on a daily basis. To know Laurence Albert is to love him. His students, he's a masterful teacher, and he doesn't know how much I learn from him on a daily basis. And so I wanted to just say to him how grateful I am and how awesome you were today, as always. And, you know, you work beside in the same building with a person. Sometimes you learn some things that you did not know. Those of you online, you may have remembered when Frank Chosette was conductor of the Symphony. And Professor Albert, when I was choral director at Murrah High School, Frank Chosette chose our choir to be the Ethiopian chorus at AIDA.
Aha.
And that was in 79, I think, 79 or 80, somewhere around there. He must have gotten the idea from Memphis. That's the only thing I can think of. But so to say that really brought back something to me. But I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed you, how blessed I am to partner with you as we work with these students that we work with. And yes, they are absolutely awesome. We've been fortunate to even get them to Tougaloo. So I want to thank you for that. Thank you, Crafton, for what you do, and for all of the others who are online today. It's good to meet some of you. It's good to see some of you that I had known before, and it's been a while. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carl. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for being here. This has been just a lovely evening. It's great to see new faces and old faces. Lawrence, did you have anything to add before we sign off this evening?
I just saw three other people that are dear to me here. I don't see the other page, but I see my cousin, and I see Taiko, and I see Alice Nelson, all these wonderful friends and family. So thank you all for spending this time with us. Thank you so much for letting us have this opportunity. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're going to say good evening. We won't close the meeting right away. If you just want to say a quick goodbye or anything, that would be great. Thank you all for being here. This has been an absolute joy. Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
Bye-bye. Mary Gail.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Oh my God, Ron. Hello, Al. Oh my gosh.
Oh, what a pleasure to see you, Larry, and to hear you.
Thank you. Is that Alice? Was that Alice there?
Yes, it was.
Thank you, Alice.
I see.
I have two Alices because Alice Willetta, she was there.
I'm here.
Oh, there she is. Oh, wow. This is like a love in. Takes me back to my 70s.
Larry, you sound so great. My gosh.
Thank you,
It's
MG.
glorious.
This
Wow.
craft, and do you know Mary Gail?
I do not, I don't think. Do I, Mary?
I don't think so.
We've met.
Yeah. But
Quite
thank you so
a
much
mezzo
for doing
soprano.
this.
I know Mary Gail. She's great.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, what a great opportunity to hear Larry sing and to hear people talk about music and how much it means to our world. You know, we need it. And Larry, you spoke so beautifully, sang so beautifully.
Thank you. Well, we all share the same passion, that's for sure. Everyone on here, I think Janet's still there. I just, the passion that we've had and shared on stage is amazing. Alice, it's just, we have a job to do. I think this world needs us now.
Yeah, it's true.
Proud of you, cuz.
Thank you, my dear.
So you know, Laurence, professionally, I'm a psychologist, but I use music.
Do
Therapeutic.
you? Okay.
I've written 2 texts on, my specialty is depression, and it plays such an important role with helping people to really get at the source of what challenges them and to find solutions, that will kind of uplift them.
Wow.
So your work is medicine.
Wow.
And I say that not just to you, but to all of the musicians. Your work is medicine. And it's an open door to the souls of the past in terms of what they've used, how they've used music as medicine, which is why it's something that is not just a love for us, it's a passion, and that's for all who love music and find a way to share it with others, to kind of connect them with the one most powerful energy, and that's love.
Absolutely.
So I'm so glad I looked at your Facebook and saw this. Look, I had a class tonight I canceled.
Oh, did you?
I teach graduate school, but I said, no, I have an urgent virtual program.
Well, we have quartet rehearsal right afterwards, so I'll see you back in the building, in the music building.
And then community chorus rehearsal. But before I get off, and I'll stop here. For those of you who love him and know him, he's been this beautiful his whole life. at least I know when I met him at 17, this was the Laurence Albert that we all loved. You know, everybody loved him. We loved his voice talking. We loved his voice singing. But most importantly, we loved his soul. You're seeing the real deal. And all you've done is just grown. You've just grown. Just amazing. I'm just going to be sitting here turning in my chair for a while after the screen.
Wow, thank you, Vince.
Absolutely amazing. So thank you all for putting this together. I really appreciate it. And I guess if long as Laurence showcases the other things you do, I'll be watching that too.
Good. That's an amazing orchestra.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Bye, Larry. This has been wonderful. I have to run.
Thank you, Alice.
I've known Larry, I guess, since you were in undergraduate school, but we see each other once about every 10 years and have the greatest time. I ran into him purely by accident in Paris in the 1990s. that was a surprise. And last time I saw Larry, he took me on a tour of Tougaloo, which was just lovely. It was just wonderful. So Larry, it's always great to see you and hear you. I wouldn't take anything for this tonight.
And she is very modest too. I mean, all of these people are incredibly modest. Mary Gail Benson, Alice is an incredible pianist. And aren't you from this area, Alice?
I'm from Columbia, about 80 miles south of Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Mississippian.
Well, thank you, everyone. This has been beyond our biggest expectations for tonight's conversation. This has been lovely, and I think we're all going to be on a little high from this. So I'm just going to say good evening, happy hour cheers to each of you, and we hope to see you again next time.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.